Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of the Shaker Bison Newspaper Podcast. I am your host, Danny Hannoush.
I'm Abhi, Thati, and we're with
Mr. Puccioni.
Yeah. Today, we're here to ask our new principal about everything that's going on between his early career to where he is now and what's going on for the future. So, first question: how is it being the new principal so far?
A lot of people have asked me that as I've started, like, how is it being the principal at Shaker? And I just tell them it's very busy. It's I call it bustling, the school, but also rewarding. I think I've worked with students of all ages, but most recently younger students. So it's nice to work with young men and women who are 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and about to take that next stage in their life. So I feel like I've had a lot of good conversations and a lot of good connections with kids, and so I'm excited to be here.
Great. Could you expand on that earlier thing you said about you said how you worked at another school before this? Some people might not know.
Yeah. So I don't know how far back you want me to go.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Okay. From the beginning. So when I was teaching, we've moved a lot around the country. So I'm from California originally, and I taught in and around Los Angeles, and mainly.
What did you teach?
What did I teach? Middle school. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Math and science some years. I was an E&L teacher, so I had students who were learning English in. It was a combined class, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders based upon their language proficiency. So that was in Los Angeles, and then we moved to Michigan. My wife did her PhD at Michigan State, and I was an administrator. We started a new school. It was K through 8. And then here, when we moved here to the capital region, I oversaw a group of charter schools, the Brighter Choice schools in Albany. So that was K through 8. Okay. And then most recently in North Colony, I was the principal at Bout Hills. And that was K through 6, K through 5. So
yeah, I went there. Good school.
You went there?
Yeah.
All right. Bouty.
I think I just missed you, though.
You just missed me. I would have remembered you, Abhi.
Yeah, you probably were. I'm a phenomenal student.
I can tell you're pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what incentivized you to make the move from Bout Hills to Shaker High School?
There was an opening, so again, I was interested in, exploring something new. I'd been at Bout Hills for 5 years. I think as you're coming to the end of your high school career, you're probably ready to do something different.
Exactly.
And so I do feel at times, even in your professional career, you'll come to a point where you want to explore, challenge yourself. I'd heard really great things about the school. And I've told people my son is 19. He's recently graduated, so I did feel a bit of a desire, a connection to work with
people around your son's age.
Yeah.
All right, I get that.
Right. So how many kids do you have? One
I just have one son.
One son. So he went through. Where did he go? Was he?
He graduated from Niski Unit. So that was 2022. So yeah, and he knows Eli.
Yeah, he was my cousin. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hobbies, interests, anything like that?
Hobbies and interest. Our family loves to be outdoors, so we do a lot of hiking.
You ski much?
Camping. We learned to ski when we moved here.
Yeah, great place for skiing, of course.
Great place for skiing, and then I'm getting older, so
it's harder.
I was working out, and I tore my meniscus, and since then I've been a little afraid to hit the slopes because I just don't want to get injured. But a lot of outdoor activities, fishing, and then recently we've got into learning to ride horses.
Oh, really?
That's something we're doing now.
Sounds cool. You got any favorite sports you like to watch at all?
Favorite sports? I like watching all sports. I played basketball, so that has always been one that I really like. My son played.
You got the height for it.
I got the height. Yeah. My son played soccer, so I love soccer too. I mean, watching the football games. You know what? We went to the volleyball game, the girls' volleyball game. I mean, they were amazing.
Yeah,
that was a really fun game.
Right.
Competitive, and that was a really exciting game. So definitely, I need to catch more volleyball matches next year.
All right. So another thing, school spirit. We've noticed how since you've gotten here, it's definitely gotten better. Or do you want to talk a little bit about what you've tried to help out? I know you've gotten involved with a lot of clubs and help promote stuff like that.
Even at the beginning of the year, you had the little announcements too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that, the school is a great school.
Mm-hmm.
I think like your teachers, our administrators here, Mr. Spofford, Miss Bogert, Mr. Kuchar, and Miss Fox. I think everything is here. I think the last couple of years maybe have just been feeling a little bit, everyone's been in a little bit of a slump, and we're coming out. I mean, look at what you guys are doing now.
Right.
Yeah.
And then look at what the barn does at the football games, and like the crowd. When I was at that volleyball game, the crowd that was there supporting. So, I do think that our school has a lot of spirit.
Right.
And I think my goal is just that we're able to be positive in that spirit. And I know that we've had a couple hiccups this year with some things that have happened, but I just want us to, it might sound a little elementary, but I just want us to, treat each other well and kind, and just people not to focus on dragging people, but to like sort of pick them up.
Yeah,
So
no. I think that definitely COVID probably had a big impact on that.
Right.
A lot of people experiencing like certain emotions and reactions like through a screen. So the way that they kind of reacted for those couple of years like online, it was definitely more, I guess, aggressive than how you should approach or react to someone in person. And some people just haven't been able to kind of translate that to real life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do think that our communication online on certain platforms encourages sort of a shocking response. People might respond to that more, and so when you're talking to someone one-on-one, it's easier to sort of temper that or have a more civil conversation. But often I think we're pushing towards, we don't have face-to-face conversations. It's more, I'm responding with text or on whatever platform, sending a snap about something, or I'm sending it's a snap, that's what I call it. I don't want to be too too old, okay? Or an email. So I do think you're right, Danny, it's been harder for people to be positive with one another. So hopefully we can continue to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, something like Danny and I have been stressing is like getting involved with school, like stuff like that, like go to a club, just join, like don't just show up to school and then just go immediately home. Just like try to get involved, like try to go to sports games, try to get just try to build community, which I think was lost for a little bit coming out of COVID, especially like school events kind of died down due to like regulations, and like I also think like certain clubs became difficult to run because I feel like at times it was tough for us to get like approval with a lot of things, whether it be like fundraising or just in general like club events, like large scale events. It was just really hard to put stuff together following COVID. So I mean, now we're starting to see it open up a little, but I do think, as Danny was saying, like it's just, I mean, COVID made it really hard for stuff.
Yeah, I think we got to bounce back, and just what you said, you have to find ways to force yourself to be connected, and if you're not, you're going to just feel more and more disconnected and be more and more on your device or something by yourself, and then it's just a cycle where you feel sort of worse. So
definitely. Especially at a place like Shaker too, like there's so many opportunities here. Like that's kind of one of the main reasons why I transferred here, just because like there's so much. First of all, academically, there's so many available extra classes you could take, extracurriculars and all that, or not extracurriculars, electives, but also extracurriculars too.
There's in terms of just like AP, like even AP classes, there's a lot more here than what are offered at some other schools.
I think Mr. Spofford told me that in all the high schools around here, Shaker has
the most.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it. Like there's literally, if you have an interest in anything niche, you can find classes to really
that course catalog takes like 30 minutes to get through if you just want to sit and read through that.
And I do think it's like, it's an opportunity if you're like a junior or senior. Free periods are nice, but you can pack your schedule and have a lot of really good opportunities to learn or experience something different.
Yep. Definitely agree. Like, especially if you want to like get to know something or just see if you're even interested. I mean, now when you're applying for colleges, knowing what majors and stuff, it's good to have at least a little bit of background to see what you're interested in, at least to see going into school, like, hey, maybe this is an option for me, or this or that. So yeah, I agree with that.
Overall, when it came to the approach from switching from Bout Hills to Shaker, what are some things that you had to kind of change in the way that you addressed, people our age compared to, I guess, younger kids?
Well, a little different.
Yeah, a little different. So some of the things that I would address with younger students, I don't address like, volume level or like, being in the hallways. So again, I think really with younger kids too, but especially with the students here at the high school, I think trust is a very important thing. And so I think what we are trying to do is, I use it with staff too. We always want to assume the best. So I know sometimes students might feel like, why do the adults always think I'm, maybe up to no good or not doing the right thing. So I want to make sure that it's like we're not policing everyone, but at the same time we want things to be safe, and I don't want people making poor decisions that, make other people uncomfortable. So I think that's one thing I have consciously and intentionally tried to do, is just make sure that it's like, if I see something, I'm not going to maybe redirect it right away. I'm going to make sure, okay, they got it under control. They're 17, 18. And if, we notice a pattern, then it's like we need to address. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, definitely. 100%.
The other thing it got used to is that there's a lot of people that are smarter than me. So, I'm having a conversations with some of your classmates. I mean, we have some folks, you guys included, that are doing amazing things and are really skilled in different areas. So that is really inspiring to see and to be able to interact and see what people are working on and how they can explain their projects. And it's humbling for me to see all the good work. And I'm thankful that we have the faculty that can facilitate that.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one thing here too. Like I don't think there's really, like, as much as people want to say, this teacher's annoying, she's a bad teacher. I don't think there's really any bad teachers here. Like, every single teacher here at Shaker High School definitely one cares about their job. Two is definitely what's the word?
Danny, find out. You'll get there.
Now, if we were at the elementary school, I'd help you find out where.
This is us in Spanish class working on our essay.
They have the strong background in the fields of what they're teaching, that makes sense.
They had expertise.
Exactly, expertise. Thank you. I feel like I'm in elementary school now. Yeah.
And I was also like, what's your vision for the school? I mean, maybe not now, but years down the line. I know you said there comes a time where you also look to graduate.
And I heard too that we're switching to a block schedule.
What are your thoughts on all that stuff?
I'm excited about the switch to a block schedule. I know that a lot of schools around the area have moved to that. I know that, not to keep talking about my son, but when he went through NISC unit, it was a block schedule. And
Gilland and Shen do it as well.
Yeah, he loved it because you have 4 periods one day, 4 periods the next. If you have a game or an activity or a family event, church event, whatever, that night, you have another day to do your homework. If you need to check in with the teacher because you don't understand the assignment, you have another day to do that. Classes are a little bit longer, so some students, I think, worry about it's going to be boring. It's going to be.
No, that's what I was saying. In my math class, we were discussing how we're going to have a new block schedule, and I was thinking I told her, Miss Conley, I was like, if I had to sit through math for an hour and a half every other day, I don't know if I'd be able to continue through a whole year.
So I think that's a worry. So it all comes down to how that period is structured. But you can think about it. I don't know if you guys ever feel like when you're in a class, it feels a little bit rushed. Like you get to class, you get settled, you do sort of an activity, you try to have a discussion, but then it's got to wrap up because you only have 45 minutes. So you can dig a little deeper into topics in science. You can have more time to explore and have a conversation. So I definitely think it is a positive. We have our teachers are going out to sort of observe what happens at other schools. A lot of teachers here did a lot of work last year researching, and so we've talked to the faculty about it. This year is sort of a preparation year, and I do plan to in the coming month to sort of get some messaging out to families and also to the students. Especially the freshmen through the juniors.
They're going to have the biggest change.
Yeah, just to get some feedback and what they're thinking and what they might be worried about. What we have heard from the other schools in sort of education speak is that the student experience is vastly improved.
Really?
Less
That makes sense.
transitions. The lunches will be split apart a little bit more, so there's not so much overlap.
How's that gonna work? Is it
Lunches will still be 3 right now. It's proposed, right? Nothing is firm.
Yeah.
And we still need to get some input from others, but basically, you know how first and second lunch, I think it is now, have a little bit of an overlap.
Yeah.
I
Or
think
first
they-
and
I
split.
Yeah, first and split.
Okay.
That won't happen.
All right.
There'll be time in between to make sure everyone can get back to their classes,
Okay,
so
yeah,
it's a
that's
little
definitely
less
better.
confusing.
Because when you're coming down from the stairs through like B and A, it's always hectic through there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you always got.
So that should be a little bit improved. It's still going to be crowded because we're a big school, but I think that will be better. And I do actually think that just your time spent in class will be more rewarding. But that's a big change. So that's part of the vision. My other piece, and again, I'm not going to go through all the details, but I just want our climate and culture to continue to improve.
Right.
And so what you said, Abhi, is that connection
Yeah.
to school. We want to find ways for that to grow. And then, again, I want students not just feel like school is something they have to do, but something they want to do. And so sometimes it can feel like part of your day is what you want to do, and part of it is like, I just got to get this done.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we'll ever make it
Like a full
all
thing,
like, hey, I'm inspired for every moment of the day. When you get to your work in your life, you'll hopefully be inspired, but again, there's things you just have to do. But I'm hoping that we can continue to find new and creative ways for students to show their learning, or the different pathways to graduation where they can be a little bit more inspired with what they
Definitely.
do.
One thing I would like to propose is maybe pushing the school start time a little further.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, I
Yeah.
personally, I would like that. I mean, this year I'm having a blast being able to have
Late arrival.
Yeah, late arrival. Because
But-
I mean, for like ninth grade, or not ninth grade, it could be the half and half thing. From 10th and 11th grade, I had to wake up every day at 5:30 because my bus came at like 6:20.
Middle school as well for
Yeah.
us. Right after we left middle school, the time, it's like now, it starts later, doesn't it, at the middle school?
Yeah,
I
you know
think
that
so.
the start times are all based upon
Traffic.
transportation and capacity. So
Okay.
we can't start schools all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if we could start
That
all
makes
school at
sense.
9 o'clock, we couldn't, because the buses are used for the high school,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
middle
okay,
school,
yeah,
the
right.
elementary,
District.
and they've changed schedules a little bit. But it looks like the high school is going to stay.
Yeah, no, that's, hey, we tried. Future, we tried.
It's out of my control.
Yeah.
No, but I think definitely, definitely when it comes to like the block schedules again, I think that the humanities-based classes, so like the English and the history teachers, are definitely going to like that more because they have more room for discussion. Because I know, like for example, in our philosophy class, Dr. Bell, he's like he definitely loves like teaching philosophy. That was what he got his doctorate and majored in everything. And so like he's super passionate about it, and like we have great discussions in the class. But I feel definitely a class like that will benefit, in my opinion, the most, because he's always talking like right up until the bell, even like past the bell. And so it'll definitely allow for a more engaged conversation and learning, if that makes sense. Like you'll be able to split it up, lecture and then conversation.
Yeah, like philosophy is all about like building off of
Exactly.
thoughts and stuff like that. And with more time, I'm sure that's what will happen. But yeah, no, you're right about that. Like, 'cause, like,
I think most people are concerned about like math.
Yeah.
Like you said
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what I
beginning,
personally.
what will this longer session
I
of
know
math
that
be?
Miss Connolly said that she'd have to be teaching 2 lessons during that block schedule and giving like double homework.
So that's what we need to. That's what we gotta go work on.
Yeah.
Is if I'm covering a concept right now on Monday and then another concept on Tuesday, usually in math, I mean, there is a relationship between those. So how can I sort of combine that so it is more natural that I'm covering both those concepts, or sort of leading from one to another with some, possibly an activity, some lecture and notes, a little bit of practice, scaffold that, build into something, the next concept. So it's not so just like, here's lesson 1 and then I stop and here's going to be your homework, and now here's lesson 2 and your homework. I think it'll flow more naturally. But like with anything, when something changes, it's going to take a little bit of time. But again, like you talked about, the faculty and the teachers here are excellent. So I think I'm confident that they can
adapt to whatever.
Can adapt to that, can master it. We've seen it mastered in other schools around the area, and I'd say that if I had to rank the schools and the faculty, ours is right up here, so I'm confident
if they can do it, there's no reason we couldn't.
Yeah. And like I said, it's sort of nice, like if you do have that let's say you do have math concepts or a little bit more homework, you have now 2 days to do it.
Exactly.
So you know if that class is Monday and you have an activity that night, let's say you have a game or something, I can't get to it that night, I can do it the next night. Or if you have a game the next night, I'm going to get it done tonight, and I can get help on it tomorrow.
I think that definitely too helps with like kids building their time management, especially like with the transition from high school into college, because that's how it is in college, right? Like you don't have class every day; you have it maybe every other day, every other 2 days. So being able to know when, like how to handle your workload and separate that over days is definitely going to translate it to people going into college too after high school.
Yeah, like when I was in college, it was either you had class for an hour Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you had hour and a half class Tuesday, Thursday. Sometimes you get like a 3-hour class in the evening. So I do think it mirrors that college experience. And so like you said, for your time management, it really teaches you, and it gives you a little more freedom too. So I think there'll be some growing pains, but I think it'll end up being a positive.
And like missing a day probably becomes a little easier to deal with because now you're only touching base with 4 teachers rather than like 7 or 8.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's another thing people worry about. Like, okay, if it's a longer class and I miss a day, I'm missing more than I would if I just missed a day now. But you are only missing half of your classes, so you'll need to follow up with some of your teachers. So there's pros and cons to it. But overall, it's like, let's say you miss a day. The next day you can touch base with those teachers before you have that class again. You're not going right into class and like I just missed yesterday and now I'm stepping into math. No, I can touch base with people, figure out what I missed, and have a little bit of time to maybe make that up before I have the next session. So it'll...
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it'll have its growing pains, but I think it'll catch up. Yeah. Anything you want to add? Closing remarks? Anything like that?
I don't know. It's been a long day. So
Yeah.
I guess. One thing that I've noticed, and I don't want to be corny, but one quote I gave in the beginning of the year was, comparison is the death of joy.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
I do feel like. With social media, or as you're moving through school, it's like you see others have this or others are achieving this. I just want to encourage everyone, we focus on our community, but focus on yourself too, and don't compare yourself to everyone else, because I think that's where we become sometimes a little bit dissatisfied or worried or envious. And it's like the more we can focus on what we need to do and building ourselves and seeking out help and support to do that, I think the more positive our culture will be. And I do think getting connected to people that can be your support through a club or an activity, I would highly, highly recommend, even if you feel a little awkward doing it or a little apprehensive, grab a friend and do it with you. Right. I think the more involved you can be, the more you can push yourself, the more you will see that you grow and the more confident you will be and the less likely to fall back to comparing yourself to all these other people. So and I appreciate the time.
No, thank you for
sit down.
Yeah, busy man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Puccioni, thank you for watching. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment, share this with whoever. And if you're on the website, share the link with someone you know. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
Horns up, right?
Horns up.
That's what we do? Okay.
Horns up.
Okay.
All right, great.
Perfect. Thank you.